Welcome to the Divorce Lawyers podcast, where we delve into the intricacies of family and divorce law in Ontario. Whether you're going through a divorce, supporting someone who is, or simply want to understand the legal landscape, this podcast is here to help. I'm Deepa Taylor. Today we're tackling an essential topic, case conferences. What are they? Why are they important? And what should you expect? By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of what a case conference entails and how it fits into the broader divorce process. Let's dive right in. So, what exactly is a case conference? A case conference is one of the first steps in the family court process after the initial application and response have been filed. It's a meeting between the parties involved in a case, their legal representatives, and a judge. But unlike other court appearances, the focus here is on resolution and management, rather than on making final decisions. The primary goal of a case conference is to discuss the issues at hand, identify areas of agreement, and potentially resolve some or all disputes without the need for a more formal and adversarial court process. During this conference, the judge can also provide guidance on what evidence or documentation might be required moving forward. This could include financial disclosures, parenting plans, or other pertinent information. One of the most common questions clients have is about the role of the judge during a case conference. Unlike in trials or motions, the judge in a case conference isn't there to make binding decisions on major issues like custody or division of property. Instead, their role is more of a facilitator. The judge will review the briefs submitted by both parties, listen to the lawyers, and may ask some questions to clarify points. Based on this, the judge may offer non-binding recommendations on how the case could be settled. These recommendations are often invaluable because they give both parties a glimpse into how a judge might view the case if it proceeds further. However, it's important to remember that the judge presiding over your case conference won't be the one who hears the trial if the case goes that far. This separation ensures that any preliminary opinions expressed during the conference don't influence the final outcome. Preparation is key to making the most of your case conference. As your lawyer, we'll handle most of the heavy lifting, including drafting and submitting the necessary briefs. But there are things you can do to prepare as well. First, ensure that all your financial documents are up to date and ready. This includes income statements, bank records, property valuations, and any other documents that could be relevant to your case. Having these documents prepared and organized will help speed up the process and ensure that the judge has all the information needed to provide useful recommendations. Second, discuss with your lawyer any specific goals or outcomes you hope to achieve during the case conference. This might include reaching an interim agreement on child support or setting up a temporary parenting schedule. Remember, the case conference is an opportunity to move your case forward. So it's important to go in with a clear idea of what you want to achieve. On the day of the case conference, you'll typically arrive at the courthouse and meet with your lawyer beforehand to go over last-minute details. The conference itself usually takes place in a courtroom or a judge's chambers, depending on the circumstances. When the case conference begins, the judge will first ask the applicant, the person who initiated the court process, or their lawyer to present their side of the story. Afterward, the respondent, the other party, or their lawyer will have the opportunity to do the same. The judge may ask both parties some questions to clarify certain points, and then provide their thoughts on how the issues might be resolved. In some cases, the judge might suggest that the parties take a break to discuss settlement options outside the courtroom, guided by the judge's recommendations. It's important to manage your expectations going into a case conference. Many clients wonder if this will be their day in court, where everything gets resolved. Unfortunately, that's rarely the case. A case conference is typically just the beginning of the court process. While it can lead to agreements on certain issues, it's unlikely to resolve everything at once. The judge's recommendations are non-binding, meaning you're not obligated to follow them, but they can serve as a useful guide for further negotiations. It's also worth noting that the judge's hands are somewhat tied at a case conference. They can't make final orders on major issues like custody or property division. What they can do is make administrative orders, such as ordering the disclosure of additional documents or setting timelines for future steps in the process. So, who will be in the room during your case conference? Aside from you and your lawyer, there will be a few other key players. The judge, of course, is central to the process, but there will also be a court registrar who helps organize the files and ensure that everything runs smoothly. A court reporter may be present to record the proceedings, although these transcripts are usually not made public unless ordered by the judge. You might also see a court services officer, or CSO, who assists with court security and logistics. Their job includes ensuring the safety of everyone involved and helping the judge and lawyers as needed. Sometimes, during a case conference, the lawyers and the judge might step into what's called chambers, a private room outside the main courtroom. This can be a bit confusing for clients, so let's talk about what happens in there. Chambers discussions are informal and off the record. It's a chance for the judge to have a candid conversation with the lawyers about the case, without the pressure of the courtroom. These discussions can help narrow down the issues and identify potential areas of agreement. Afterward, the lawyers will return to you to discuss what was said, and the judge may summarize the key points in open court. While you might not be in the room for these discussions, they can be crucial in moving your case forward. Courtrooms can be intimidating, especially if you've never been in one before. Security is in place to ensure that everyone feels safe, but it's not something to be overly concerned about. In most courthouses, you'll go through a security screening, similar to what you'd experience at an airport, though generally less strict. It's always a good idea to arrive early to give yourself time to get through security and find your way to the right courtroom. You might also wonder if you can bring someone with you for moral support. While it's usually allowed, be mindful of who you bring. A new partner or someone closely tied to the dispute might inadvertently add tension to the situation. It's often best to bring a close friend or family member who isn't directly involved in the case. When preparing for your case conference, it's important to plan for the day. Here are some practical tips to keep in mind. First, dress appropriately. Think business casual. No jeans, hats, or sunglasses in the courtroom. The goal is to present yourself as respectfully and professionally as possible. Second, bring anything your lawyer has asked for, like updated financial documents. It's also a good idea to bring some reading material or something to keep you occupied. Court proceedings can be unpredictable, and you might end up waiting for some time before your case is called. Lastly, plan to be at court for the entire day. While your case conference might only take an hour, it could be delayed by other cases or extended if settlement discussions are going well. It's better to be prepared for a long day than to find yourself rushing out the door. Case conferences are a critical step in the divorce process, offering a chance to resolve issues early and avoid the need for a lengthy trial. By understanding what to expect and preparing appropriately, you can make the most of this opportunity. Thank you for joining me today on the Divorce Lawyers podcast. I hope this episode has helped clarify the role of case conferences in the divorce process. If you have any questions or need further assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to us at DivorceLawyers.ca. Tune in next time as we explore more topics in family and divorce law. Until then, take care and stay informed.